this is Jean, the Jelly Roll Queen. My YouTube channel, Jean the Jelly Roll Queen, has lots of ideas about making jelly roll race quilts, purses, and the necessary clutch wallet. I have a whole series on making the necessary clutch wallet, but a lot of people are curious and needed more information on how to make the double zipper pocket on the inside of their NCW, the way that I do it, which is a really simple way. So I'm going to show that to you in this video. Today I'm making a regular size necessary clutch wallet, NCW. I've gotten it, my wallet built to the point that I have my card pockets in, and right now I'm ready to build my 2-zipper center pocket, and I want to show you the way that I do that to make things really easy. First of all, I have my pieces cut out, laying out here on the table, and I'm going to show you each one. This is the piece that the pattern asks you to cut out, and it asks you to cut 2 of these out. That works out fine if you're only going to put the zipper in one end, but it makes it a little bit cumbersome if you want to put a zipper in both sides of the pouch. This piece is 8 inches wide, and it's 7.5 inches long. So then where I kind of differ from the pattern is, instead of cutting another piece this size, I cut 2 pieces that basically are going to equal 8 inches by 7.5, but I've added some extra onto each one of these pieces because I'm going to add an extra seam to my pouch, and I want to make sure I have enough fabric to incorporate that seam in there. So I've cut these 8 inches by 4 1/4. I probably am going to trim some of this off, but I'd rather have a little bit too much than not enough. The other thing that I add to mine, I always use what we call a security tab. And this kind of loops over the 2 pockets, and it holds them together. It keeps the wallet from falling open, and then if you use a cell phone or something for the center of your, in the center of your 2 pockets, then it holds that in. And then I've already built this one. It's 4 inches long, and I usually start off with a square that's like 4 by 4, and I put my piece of the soft pile Velcro on there and then just kind of finish it off. This is going to go right here on my body piece. That's my first thing that I'm going to do as I start to build this. And then of course I got my 2 zippers up here. Well, these pieces right here match the outside of my pockets, and I'm going to use those. I'm going to do what we call zipper tabs. The zipper tabs are going to be sewn on to the end of each zipper, roughly shortening the width of the zipper by about 3/4 of an inch, but also letting me cut off the bulky metal parts on the end of my zipper, and just making a little thin piece of fabric be the finished part of my zipper. And this really helps when we finish putting this together and we try to put it into the side folds of our wallet, because it reduces the bulk. It's going to be going in here, and a lot of people have trouble getting their sewing machines to go through that, so that reduces the bulk. It also makes the end of the zipper a lot neater looking. And then I have the insides of my pockets, and according to the pattern, these are cut 8 inches wide and 4 inches long. And I use 2 different colors just because it makes it kind of neat to have some contrast when I'm doing that. So, okay, I've already built this, my security tab. And where I'm going to place it is I'm going to place it in the center of the 8-inch width of this, and I'm going to sew it down. So I've kind of got it centered right there right now, so that's where I'm going to sew it first. Then I'm going to do my zipper tabs. And then I can start putting the whole thing together. So I'll show you step by step how I'm going to build this and get it ready to be put into my my necessary clutch wallet for the final piece. Well, my first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take this little security tab that I already built. I'm going to lay it in the very center of the 8-inch width of this. Now this is tricky when you're doing this because they're so close in size that it's always best to measure to make sure that you've got the 8-inch. I love this table because it's got the units right here. It's got the inches marked right here. So I'm marking, here's the center of this, and I'm just laying that on there. I don't really need to pin it because I'm just going to baste across there. I'm going to do that first. And remember, this is the 8-inch width. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to be marking my zippers. Oh, and when you do that, you want to sew it so that the Velcro is facing down. I'm going to take my zippers and I'm going to lay them across the 8-inch width here, and I'm going to mark. I'm going to actually need to flip this over. So I'm going to mark about a 1/2 inch in from the end, from this edge right here, and I can eyeball this. You can just eyeball it. It's not a big deal if it's not exactly right, because you'll center it in a minute. So I've got my marking here for this end, and then I'm going to make a marking here for the opposite end, and then that's how long my zipper is going to be once it's inserted. That's where the slider is going to be. So what I want to do when I make my zipper tab is I want to take the tab and I want to lay it face up, and the bulk of this is going to face to the center of the zipper. So I'm going to just center my zipper tape face down over my zipper tab. So the right sides of the zipper and the zipper tab are together. And then I'm just going to sew across this. Now when you're sewing on this end, it's not a problem because you've got nothing to really think about except just sewing across it and just, you know, attaching it. And I'm going to show you what it looks like if you're going to pull this back, and then it's going to finish off the end of the zipper, and then later on I'm going to trim that off. Now when I do this other end, here's something you really need to remember. You need to move your zipper slider to the middle, because if you don't and you sew across this and you cut that off, you're going to cut the slider off, and then the whole thing is gone. It's out the window, throw away, get me a new zipper. So I'm going to do the same thing with this piece. I'm going to lay it face down, the zipper tab face up, the zipper face down, with the bulk of the zipper tab towards the center of the zipper, and sew across. Now I can trim this part of the zipper off. See, this metal part is the part that if it were caught in the seam, it would be bulky, and we don't want that. And then this one also, we're going to just go ahead and trim that off. And I'll iron this back before I'm ready to insert it, and that's what my zipper is going to look like. So I'm going to do the same thing for the other zipper. It's going to go on this end, although it should just be the same length. Now, a lot of people ask what size zippers to use. I find that if I have a 9-inch zipper, then I've got plenty of zipper tape to kind of trim off. So, you know, you can use a 7-inch because basically this is going to end up being 7 inches. But then you might have to pry off this little metal part, either here or down here, in order to get it away. And so I just prefer to use the 9-inch. We buy them in bulk. There's a lot of different places. There's places, eBay, Amazon. I happen to get a lot of my zippers from a company called Waywack. That's a sewing supply company up in New Jersey. And I love them because they're very, very, very reasonable, and they're fast in their delivery. If you're in the United States, you can get it within a day or two. Always amazes me. I'll go ahead and place an order at WayWack, and the next day my front porch has got zippers on it. So I've got my zipper tabs on both of my zippers. I'm going to trim this one away down here, and then trim it away down here. So that's all there is to putting the zipper tabs and the security tab in prior to starting to put your pockets together.